Hi, my name is Catherine Brockington, and I'm here today. I'll be interviewing Kiana Randall as part of a project from the leadership class, leadership skills in the Masters of Public Health program at the University of Mary Hardin Baylor. So I would like to introduce Kiana Randall. Kiana Randall is a site director and behavioral specialist for the YMCA of Central Texas, and she brings a lot of experience here, and today we're going to discuss her roles in leadership. Kiana, I will let you introduce yourself if you would like to say anything else. I know I started with the introduction, but I'll let you say hello.
Yeah, I think you covered it. Like she said, my name is Kiana Randall. I'm a site director and behavioral specialist for the YMCA of Central Texas, and I've been in my position for 4 years now.
Kiana, I guess we'll go ahead and hop into it if that's okay with you. What about the role as a site director and behavioral specialist do you think qualifies you as being the leader of an interprofessional team?
I believe my role as a site director and behavioral specialist at the YMCA qualifies me because I do a lot of collaboration and overseeing responsibilities.
Okay. How do you feel that the YMCA ties into a health organization?
The YMCA is a nonprofit health organization. We do a lot of health outreach, public outreach, so I feel like that would qualify as a public health organization. And I also, like through my leadership, I ensure that our programs are meeting health standards and the well-being of others.
Very interesting. What is the mission of your organization?
Our mission is to overall implement Christian principles and to help people meet their mental, physical, and spiritual well-beings.
In your role as a site director at the YMCA, what characteristics do you feel like you possess that make you an effective leader?
I would say, for one, my decision-making skills. I have to balance a lot of resources just with us being a nonprofit and just having such a large demographic of people from age to gender to race. So I definitely think being decisive, delegation, having to have strong communication skills. I'm really big on interpersonal skills. I like to communicate things, make sure things are clear, but I'm also big on empathy, making sure that we all are one big cohesive team, because ultimately that leads us to success as a team.
Okay. I'm going to go back to the first question I asked you and kind of elaborate on that a little bit, if that's okay.
Yes.
I know that you're a leader of an interdisciplinary team, but during your time in that leadership, can you talk about a few types of people that you oversee there and like what type of positions that you oversee in your role that would make you an interdisciplinary, interprofessional team?
Yes, I oversee basically staff, and those staff work with from all different types of ages. It can be senior citizens, the children, moms, dads, kind of just like everything in between, from sports to just casual like working out.
Would you say you work with different types of professionals, like teachers, doctors?
Yes, we work a lot with teachers. Yes, we work a lot with teachers, especially in the after-school care sites. We work hand in hand with the teachers. We communicate with them. Once staff checks in for the day, they will go communicate with the teachers and see how, specifically like more for the children, see how they went throughout their day, because those things might be communicated with mom and dad. And we work hand in hand with them for behavioral things. Also, outside of like just teachers and stuff, we work with doctors, following current trends, seeing what is going on like in the health world, to see what things we can be implementing for their physical well-being. We also work with mental health professionals too, and get them connected with our community so that we can make sure that they're being met mentally and implement ideas and programs from them. And that's ultimately how we create our programs that we do have.
That's awesome. Okay. So, the next question for you will be, what type of leadership do you think you use within the organization?
I would say that my leadership style, I would say I am definitely a transformational leader, just because I'm big on communication. I'm really big on organization, but also like motivation, especially with the field that we have and the clientele. The YMCA gets busy, and we have so many programs, so many moving pieces, so many moving puzzles, especially like in behavioral things. It's very important to just have that transformational style and that motivation, because it just boosts morale and keeps everyone going. And it also helps to cultivate a culture in the YMCA and to make sure that we're embodying those Christian values. And it just helps with collaboration and growth, ultimately like producing more income and things like that for the branch.
Okay. I love that you're a transformational leader. That's one of my favorite leadership styles. So I hope to be able to follow in those footsteps one day.
Yes.
Okay. What key leadership qualities do you believe that are most essential for the YMCA site director?
I would say motivation, being flexible, but also knowing how to delegate, but still being open-minded, being able to be adaptable because things change and it's moving, constantly changing, being accepting as well, just because we have so many different ranges of people, because we serve the public and the public is diverse. So just being accepting truthfully, and making sure that you know how to properly use the resources that you have.
Okay. How do you think that as a director you're able to make sure that your qualities that you instill, like the qualities that you just described, how do you make sure those are actually displayed within the organization?
I prioritize staff meetings. I send out emails frequently, but we also do check-ins every Thursday. We meet when we do check-ins and we talk about how the week is going, what needs to do better. When it, like the fitness area, we might be seeing, okay, do we need to be doing more trainings? Do we need to maybe do some discounts to see if we can get more people brought in for trainings to help them with their physical bodies? We might see, like, should we try doing a new workout class or like a workout event where we can also serve the community, maybe by doing like a mom's day out. But instead of like the moms going out and leaving their children, they put the children in child watch, and then we'll have like a free mom boot camp workout class, things like that. For childcare, we'll meet and see what's working with the kids, what's not working, what's working with staff, and then we might implement some different like incentives with staff, like gift cards, reward system, just like reinforce good morale, and just like literally just talking to my staff, making sure they, you know, checking in on them, like, hey, how's it going? You know, just being present.
Okay, so it seems like you have a good way to implement those practices, and so we'll kind of segue into communication because it falls right under that. So with communication, how do you keep communication effective with there being so many different departments and programs and different moving parts of everything? How do you keep communication effective across the board for everyone?
I think having an open door policy, and just being clear in like what I say, like meaning what I say. Also delegating, delegating and having people also ensure that everybody's understanding. So while I might not be able to go check on this part, I might have someone that's over this specific part check on them. That's kind of how I just make sure it's clear, and then listening for feedback, asking them a question and see if they're able to answer it, and if they are, that means I'm being clear, and if they're not, that means I might need to provide some more clarity. But typically, their work that they do, or we'll start to see like results on whether or not my communication is really clear or not as the week will go on and things like that.
Okay.
I also track progress, so like more so like for the exercise aspect, or like gym membership. If we're doing like a program where it's like, okay, bring a friend, they get discount or something like that, I'll track the progress and see like where we're growing at. But for child watch and after school care, I might be looking and see where we're decreasing at. Are we losing children? Why are we losing children? Is something wrong with the staff? Things.
Okay, that's always good to get feedback. So when you're implementing these things across the board with the staff and communication, do you have specific communication systems that you're using as far as email, text message? What type of notifications do you have going out to communicate with staff?
We use email. I send a weekly email out. We use stacks for scheduling. So we communicate on there as well, like for scheduling, if someone needs a shift cover, something like that. Also just that face-to-face, in-person. I like to send out reminds too. I find those to be helpful. And Google Forms, because I like Google Forms and things.
Okay, it's very nice. Okay. Can you describe a time when you felt like you faced resistance to a new program, initiative at your site?
Yes, this past summer, we implemented a new behavior program, which is kind of like where that behavior specialist comes in. We encounter, more so specifically for the children, we encounter all different types of behavioral health issues from ADHD to autism, and we are just, as a branch, we are not equipped and trained to handle certain things. So implementing this program came with a lot of pushback because we lose a lot of memberships, so we lose a lot of children, but with that we lose money whenever we can't meet certain needs of children, or let's say you have a ADHD child and they're struggling with behavior, but instead of trying to work with their ADHD, typically the child care director would remove them from the program. But this summer we tried to do something different and keep them and implement that behavior program, which is basically like working with them and their behaviors, creating plans with them and communicating with their parents. However, we received a lot of pushback from staff because it did require staff to do a little bit more work with the children instead of sending them off with someone in leadership. They had to actually be more hands-on. We had a child that was nonverbal, and it was a lot of pushback because people didn't want to communicate with him through the communication chart because it required more time and more effort. So we did get a lot of pushback because it just, like I said, it required people to do more than what they're necessarily equipped to do, because we're not trained in autistic child care and things. But to fix this, I did do my own training. I made sure that everyone got trained in trauma care. Everyone had to do their trauma first aid, and so that helped. Also, just having that open door, allowing them to communicate their concerns, and just stepping in to fill in whenever they needed a break or something just wasn't working for them.
Okay. What strategies do you use to motivate and inspire your team when working toward challenging goals or operating with limited resources? I know that you mentioned that a lot of times funding's limited with the YMCA, so I know that could pose an additional challenge for you all.
One big thing I do is I celebrate success. So if I hear that someone got a new membership at the front desk, or if someone had a good training, like motivating them, like, oh, you did so good. We also use a lot of incentives. So that might be you get a $25 gift card if we gain 30 memberships in the week. Or if you can get 10 kids signed up to your after the first week of school, then you might get a $25 gift card or something like that. We also do Employee of the Month, and our biggest incentive is we do raises. Every 6 months you get a raise. Even if it's 15 cents or 25 cents, you get a raise. Also, in order to increase like employee morale, if you can bring a friend on to work at the YMCA and they stay for a year, then you and your friend get $1,000. We also do tuition reimbursement if you work for the YMCA for a year. So I think those things.
Okay.
I think that helps like them motivate working towards goals because they know that there is some type of benefit or reward that they may get. Or it might be they get a day off but paid.
Okay. How do you approach decision making when balancing the needs of staff, program participants, and the broader community?
I would say that I listen to feedback to see like what they're needing, and then I try to let my staff make as many decisions as I can let them make. I try to give them that autonomy to kind of just make decisions on what is best for their department. A lot of time for my after school directors, they might decide that they don't want to do outside time the whole time because it doesn't work good for their school, and I allow them to make that decision. As long as they're meeting their state requirements, then they pretty much can decide what they do and don't do. Just kind of just trying my hardest to let them be independent while knowing that they still can be dependent.
That's very awesome. Having your own autonomy really helps when you're in a role.
I also use like data, so like tracking the memberships too, because some decisions might have to change based on like membership. Because ultimately we need membership to make money because we're a nonprofit and we give more than we make. So a lot of times people have free memberships or reduced memberships to the YMCA. So we're still meeting like their physical, mental, and spiritual needs, but we do need membership money. And a lot of our funding honestly comes from childcare in like after school because we get funding from the state, and a lot of that budget goes over to the actual branch. So so there are times where I do have to use that data and memberships to make more authoritative decisions.
Okay. What role does emotional intelligence play in your leadership style, especially in managing conflicts amongst the staff or the program participants?
In order to maintain like a neutral stance, emotional intelligence is highly important. I don't think I could do my job well if I didn't have, emotional intelligence. I use it to handle conflicts. I handle conflicts every single day. It's not with my staff. It's, something like might be members or something like that. But it helps me to be able to understand their perspectives as well, because everybody is coming to the table with something different and different perspective. I might not see it how they see it, and they might not see it how I see it. So having that emotional intelligence helps me to mitigate conflicts or to create solutions while remaining neutral at the same time.
Okay. How do you measure success of the programs and initiatives within the YMC site? And what metrics do you prioritize? I know you talked a little bit about collecting data and those things. So could you tell us how that kind of falls into measuring success of the programs?
Engagement and retention is key. It is our goal to have, other than outside of anything else, our ultimate goal is engagement and retention, because that's what keeps the money coming in. That's what keeps us afloat. That's what keeps us being able to help and serve our community. So I do look at our engagement levels and retention. So that might be me looking at membership or people's workout progresses. Is Susan's workout class growing? She started off with 5, we need to be at 20. Why is it not growing? Are we decreasing? Looking at those things, because it has a direct correlation to membership and retention, because we want them to stay. Also, I would say participant feedback. Sometimes we send out surveys, or a lot of times it's just me walking through the branch and asking, hey, how's it going today? How has things been here? Have you noticed something you don't like, or do you have any improvements we can make? And sometimes it's as simple as like, oh, we want a coffee bar, and that's something that we did get done. We did get a coffee bar. I got that a couple of times. Or the women's locker room, they wanted more showers, so when we did our rebuild, we got new showers. So things like that, because it helps with retention.
Okay. How do you foster a culture of continuous learning and professional development amongst your staff?
So based on their roles, we do continuous training. Like for summer camps in childcare, they spend a weekend at our Twin Lakes location, and they do intensive training on all things childcare. For the fitness consultants and all people fitness and workout, they will go through extensive fitness training, equipment training. For aquatics, they will, they'll go through water training, water safety with Evan, our aquatics director. That's pretty much like how we keep that up, just training, but we like to make it fun. So it might be like where we have a potluck, but we're doing training.
Okay. What are some of the biggest challenges you face in promoting inclusivity and accessibility at your YMCA site, and how do you address them?
Just with the demographics of people that we serve, which is so diverse. Sometimes we do have a language or cultural barrier. So because of that, we do try to hire as many multilingual people or bilingual as we can, even from ASL to French to Swahili. Like, we try to have somebody that can speak something that we might encounter, even if it's not like their primary language. We do try to have it because, that can make a difference on if that person becomes a membership or not. We'll also do, like, to try to meet, like, different cultures. We might do Latino Zumba. We might do Latino Fest night, or we might have a culture fest, but like something related to fitness. So it might be like you work out to different cultural music, something like that.
Okay. It's pretty awesome and creative.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We also do financial assistance. So because there are some demographics of people that need financial assistance, so like I mentioned earlier, we do like the reduced memberships or free memberships. But you just fill out a little form and it's based off of your income. Very super discreet. I don't get to see it. No one gets to really see it other than our financial advisor, and they award the reduced rate and things.
Okay, that's very helpful. Good, some good information to know. Maybe I can pass along to some others. Okay. Ms. Randall, how do you adapt to your leadership approach to meet the evolving needs of the YMCA community and the population you serve?
Mm-hmm. I would say I try to stay in tune with community feedback. I try to follow trends, like look on TikTok, Instagram. I also really closely watch what the other YMCA branches are doing to kind of try to like mimic what they're doing if I see that it works well. So I think that helps me, like meet our evolving needs, and just being involved with the community in the YMCA and just asking like, hey, what are you needing? Or what kind of like earlier, like what should we add? Also looking at membership and who's showing up to what. So if I notice that there's a lot of people showing up to boot camp class, but we only have one boot camp class, it might be a need that we need to add another boot camp class. And so then I'll just make that decision to go ahead and add another boot camp class.
I appreciate you taking the time to let me interview you as a leader in our community. As we get ready to wrap things up for this afternoon, I'd like to ask you 2 more quick questions.
Okay.
And they're very, very laid back questions. Mm-hmm. One question I like to ask is, what is your favorite thing about being a site director in a leadership position at the YMCA of Central Texas?
I would say my favorite thing about being a site director would be being able to literally live out our mission, implementing those core Christian principles, and making sure that I'm able to meet everybody's physical, mental, and spiritual well-being, because it's more than just a workout. It's feeling that their health, their spirit, their body. It's more than just childcare, because it takes a village. It's pouring into children, raising children up. It's more than just swim class. It's feeding into them. I think to me that's probably my favorite part, just being able to just help those people, and we serve a demographic of people that are unrepresented too, and being able to be that representation and to advocate for those people and their needs. And we do a lot of assistance, like, because we're a nonprofit, so we do a lot of assistance, and to me being able to give back and help really makes me love my job. Like for Thanksgiving coming up, we're doing a huge turkey drive, but a turkey run. So if you want to run the 5K, you sign up, but instead of paying, you bring a turkey, or you bring dressing or stuffing, something like that.
That's very awesome. Very, 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 very good way to give back to the community. They're so lucky to have you. As we close, would you close us out with a bit of advice that you would give someone going into a leadership role?
I would say always be flexible, but know when to take control. Be dependable, but be confident in your independence as well. Patience, have strong communication, be clear. If you gotta run your idea by someone, then run it, but make sure that once you deliver it, that's kind of what's gonna be. Being open-minded, and be willing to actually respond to your people's feedback. If something's not working, make those changes. Be motivating, and just remember to just treat your staff or the people that you're leading how you would want to be treated, because we don't all start off as leaders. So I would say that's my advice.
Okay. Well, Ms. Kiana Randall, I thank you for coming out today
Of course, thank
and
you for
taking
having
your
me.
time to interview with us. Thank you. And you have a good
Thank
afternoon.
you.
Thank you.